Welcome to episode 4 of the Ostrich Running Podcast. Today, we're talking with Cody Novini, a guy who never saw himself as a runner, but somehow ended up signing up for an Ironman.
Wow.
Ultra marathons, and brutal endurance challenges. Why? Well, because he believes in doing the things he hates the most to build mental resilience. From running his first half marathon on a whim, to training for the Zion 100 to raise money and save 100 kids' lives. Cody's journey is about more than just miles. It's about purpose, faith, and pushing through suffering. So, is there a method to his madness? Or is he just embracing the pain? Well, let's find out.
Let's find out.
This is the Ostrich Running Podcast. Another episode of the Ostrich Running Podcast. Today we have a guest whose journey into endurance sports is anything but ordinary.
Really?
Yeah. Cody Novini never considered himself a runner. He hated running and cold water.
Oh, we're going to be friends.
But on Memorial Day of 2023, he made a snap decision the night before and ran his first half marathon.
The night before?
The night before. Just on a whim, because...
we have a lot in common, but I didn't do it the night before.
Well, you don't ever wake up and feel like running a half marathon?
No.
Why not?
I never feel like running at all.
Well, what followed was a whirlwind.
Was he chasing something?
We're going to find out when we talk to him.
Okay.
Well, what followed was a whirlwind of physically and mentally grueling challenges, sprint triathlons, Ironman races, and now training for the Zion 100 Ultra. And you'll find out why.
What?
Yeah, I know. You've been
wanting... Is
wanting...
that an eating competition? Is something different?
Yeah, it's 100 calories an hour you have to eat and consume.
Okay. He's not running 100 miles like you, is he?
He is running 100 miles because this man is insane. But it's not about just pushing the limits for the sake of it. He's actually raising money to save 100 kids' lives, turning personal suffering into a mission of impact.
That kind of makes sense, then.
Yeah, well, you see, I know
not like you doing it for no reason and a little shiny medal.
I mean, I think we're gonna find out. We're gonna ask a bunch of questions.
Okay.
But yeah, so I really am excited to have him here. I want you to see this mission that he's on, and the purpose. Actually,
I like Cody more than you already.
Yeah, because at least he does it for something good. Where I'm just doing it for
yourself.
Yeah, I guess I'm so selfish. God, this is gonna make me feel terrible. But yeah, let's get ready for this episode. It's part motivation, part reality check, and full of raw, unfiltered insight into what it takes to embrace the suffering and come out stronger. So let's get into it, and let's everybody welcome our guest today, Cody Novini. Welcome to the Ostrich Running Podcast, Cody. We are excited to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm super excited.
Thanks, bro. Love you. Stoked to be here. Happy to be part of it. Super excited. Let's talk about some crazy stuff. Get down and dirty.
I know Cody.
Yeah, how did you guys meet?
We met in high school, so he might be able to give some insight.
Oh, God, you knew Nick in high school?
He might be able to give some insight. Look, you thought I was crazy, though. We won't get into that. This isn't the purpose of this podcast, okay? But we've known each other for many, many years, and we found our way back into each other's lives. I'm not going to say running brought it back, but we've had some training runs where we got to go run the canyons, and like I mentioned before, when you're out there running with somebody...
Who connected with who first? Like, how did you guys...
I don't know. I guess maybe I reached out.
It just kind of happened.
I think it's because, like all of you know, I went MIA for many years. I like to be in everybody's lives, and then I just disappear, right? But I reached back out. We found each other. We reconnected. It was a beautiful thing. Our relationship is here. We continue. But I want to hear about you, Cody. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your running background, where you're at? I know I mentioned some of it, but, we want to hear it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate running. I've hated running since the Marine Corps.
I knew we'd get along.
And yeah, dude, it's just something I had no interest in. And a buddy was like, hey, let's do a 5K. And we did a 5K. That was like early 2023. And that was about it. I did a couple little runs here and there. And then God tells me, hey, go run a half marathon. And I'm like, okay.
By yourself?
What?
By yourself? You just
No, just kind of said to do it. And so I thought about it a lot, and it was the day before Memorial Day. I'm a veteran, so Memorial Day, that's pretty big for me.
Thank you
and
for your service.
yeah, thanks. You too, buddy. Love you. So I signed up the night before. I didn't know what I was doing. A friend told me take a gel at like mile 6 and then another one around mile 9. So that was the education I had getting into it. I did have a pair of running shoes. I didn't have running socks, and for some reason I thought it'd be good to wear 2 pairs of socks, and that was horrible. I'm on mile like 2, almost mile 3, and my feet are just blistering up horribly, and I like took my shoes off to try to make an adjustment and realized there was no such thing there's no fixing it. So I just kept running, and yeah, like by mile 4 I was basically running on like burning hot razor blades as the blisters just
oh my God.
peeled up on the arches of both feet. And by the end of the run,
did quitting cross your mind at any point in that half marathon?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Now, I know you don't know a lot about me, but I actually have somewhat of the same experience. I was told by my uncle to run with him for a half marathon, and I underestimated, is that right? Underestimated how hard that would be. So I went out on a limb and just ran it. Yeah. Without training, without doing anything, and I got to around mile 5 before I had my guts almost exploded, and then I had to finish the rest.
My guts almost exploded. I can relate to that. Now you're speaking my language. So Cody, after that first race, what made you decide to keep, signing up for harder and scarier challenges? What was it about running?
Yeah, because I never wanted to run again after that.
Yeah, I had an experience in that run where I mentally separated from my body and the pain that I was going through. And I got into a space almost like I was floating above my own body. And it was like a close moment with Jesus. And I'm just learning a lot about things. And in that run, I learned like basically how to make it my mental strength, almost like a muscle, make it strong so that I can, by choice, just separate from what my body's desires are, my pains, my desires for food, whatever different like human natural things that we have. And then that was before mile 6. And when I passed mile 6, every step was the longest run I'd ever done in my life. And so it was just a really cool experience to go on. And I learned a ton in that. And then I went to work the next day, and I could barely go up and down the stairs. And I was the boss. I had about 60, 70 employees at the time. And everybody was really like, they were all like motivated about this. Like they were all like seeing me like suffering to try to go up and down stairs, to try to like sit down, to try to stand back up from my chair. And it was like, dude, you're freaking awesome. You're a badass. I can't believe you did that. And that was a big deal. A half marathon was a big deal at that time. And
I mean, it's a huge deal. It's still a huge
deal. Yeah.
I know you're running crazier distances now, but we can't discount the fact that that is still an amazing accomplishment. So you said, faith kind of took you a little bit past on each step. Is faith kind of a heavy motivator in your running journey?
Now it is. I think in the beginning it wasn't necessarily, but it was definitely what got me into doing it. That experience I had on the half marathon, I was like, hey, let's go do more crazy things. My buddy that told me about to take the gels, my buddy Chad, he's like, hey, let's go do a sprint triathlon. And so we signed up for a sprint triathlon.
Anybody who's not familiar, what is a sprint triathlon?
So a sprint triathlon is, this one was in the ocean, like I swim a half mile and then bike like this one. Like typically there are 12 to 24 miles and then do a 5K run at the end. Mm-hmm. And so I go to the sprint and everybody's lined up in the front in wetsuits, and I'm on the front line because of my weight class, and we're going to be the first wave. And I'm the only guy standing there in a Speedo. And so I was pretty stoked on that. But like the picture for their big picture for their event was just wetsuits, Speedo.
Wow.
And I'm like, I just want
Sounds
to
like something
finish,
you
you
would
know?
Oh yeah.
I just want to finish this run. There's a bunch of the college kids at church that were like, I kept trying to get them to come with. I was trying to like inspire a lot of people to get involved. And I'm on the bike, and the rear axle came out of the bike that I borrowed from a friend. A full suspension mountain bike is what I used for this. And the rear axle comes out.
It's in the bike.
And it gets, the rear tire lodges up into like the wheel well, I guess you would call it, and stops. And I'm like fishtailing down a hill and almost fall, but I don't. But I like the feeling for me right there was like, holy cow, I'm not going to finish those. I'm going to let those people down. So it wasn't about like me and getting a medal. It was like, there's people counting on me to do something cool and motivate them. And if I don't, then that's really bad. And I'm like considering running, carrying the bike for the rest of the bike and then doing the run. And I'm processing, what do I do right now? And a volunteer helps me fix the bike, barely get that rear axle on. And I go and get it fixed. And then like, so we finish and I show up with the medal. And I just remember sitting there, I went straight to church afterward. And a few seats over is one of the kids. And I looked at him like this, and he looks at me, and I just hold the medal out. I wore the medal to church because I'm a dork.
Wow.
And he saw it, and he's like, oh. And I saw like the respect in their processing and like the inspiration. And it's like, that's what gets me like, is that that's what gets me going, is it's not like, hey, I need to accomplish this because I have all these, and there's people that like their parents never showed them love. So they're going and accomplishing things to like get that satisfaction, right? That's not where I'm going, but I am doing all these things to like try to not only accomplish something, but inspire others that look 2 years ago, right now it's March 2025. 2 years ago, I hadn't ran much at all in 10 years prior. And I'm going to go run 100 miles next month. Like, you don't have to be this ultra marathon runner for 10 years to go do crazy stuff.
Right now.
So I did 2 Ironmans in April last year. And I wasn't like this triathlete training for years and years. Like all these Facebook groups are like, hey, it's 2025. I'm planning the Ironman 2028. What do you think I should do? And I have a coach. And it's like, you don't have to go down this long path in life to get somewhere. Yeah. You could just set your mind on a crazy ass goal and then just follow the steps, an ad hoc, just makeshift setup plan, and just crush that mission if you set it as a priority and actually accomplish something.
So you don't train at all right now before these
No, right
runs?
now I train.
Okay.
But I started in like basically November, which gives me like 5.5 months before the run.
Before 100.
And I don't have a coach.
This is the furthest distance that you're going to be running?
Yeah.
Okay. Prior to this, what's the longest distance that you ran?
I did a marathon at the end of the Ironman. So just that one
at the end of the Ironman.
He's going from a marathon. The next one
is 100
miles.
Wow. That is crazy.
But like, that's how it was
in your journey.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's wild. This is why I was excited to have Cody on here, because when he told me, even I was like, hey, are you sure you don't want to do a 50 and maybe go through there? And, he kind of, what's the word? He played into it. He's like, yeah, I'll consider that. Maybe I will consider it. And then I asked him, I'm like, so are you going to end up doing the 50? And he's like, no, I just signed up for the 100. So, you're explaining like how you notice these people who are having these elaborate training plans, these goals 3 years out. But you're almost like, hey, just jump in, right? Just jump in and do it and see what happens, right? So I love that. I completely agree. When you don't have time to really psych yourself out of it,
Think
right?
of all the problems first, maybe.
It's better to just go in there. So you mentioned, and I know personally.
So why did you skip the 50?
Oh, you wait till you hear this reason,
right?
Because I asked them the same thing.
I have so many questions, right?
Like, why do you not do the 50 first?
Because I did the half marathon, and then I was like, okay, I'm good. I never need to do this again. Like, I'll just
please explain to us, Cody, why is it that you're going to skip the 50?
Okay, something I've kind of learned. I'll give you, so like in business, we made these 3 and 5 year plans, and in 18 months, we've already accomplished the 5 year plan. So it's like, why make all these baby steps? Baby steps are for babies. Just go get after it. So
Right.
my buddy Ben and I are doing this run, and we were talking about, hey, we need something to be going after right now in life, in addition to life, but like just something big to be going after to keep our mind in the right space. So I'm contemplating what to do, and I'm like, all right, let's do a 50. And he's like, well, I kind of want to just do 100. And I'm like, dude, it took me like weeks to mentally be cool with let's do a 50-mile run. I have no interest in running. A week ago, I didn't even want to do a 50. I'm finally telling you this, and you throw 100 on me.
Right.
And I'm considering, I'm like, 50, 100, what's the difference, dude? You're in Sufferfest, you're dead, you're deprived, your body is
I like
destroyed.
that
Like,
mentality though. Yeah.
let's just get after it and let's go. Like, what's the difference in suffering or suffering?
Yeah.
What's 50 miles amongst friends,
and,
you know?
And you know, the crazy thing, he throws in, as we can kind of see a theme forming here with Cody, right? I believe that you are big on setting an example for those around you, lifting people up around you, motivating them to be the best version of themselves. And what better way to do it by, you know, pushing yourself through its limits and being an example of perseverance and challenging, trying hard things, right? So, you know, I kind of want to go into a little bit about what it is that is your driving factor that is going to lift you up with this 100-miler in Zion, which is in April, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
April
correct.
12th.
So
Yeah, and I want to know, is he seeking out that feeling again, maybe, that he had for that half marathon? Like
Yes.
that out-of-body experience? Because I know you're looking for it right now.
So, you know, yeah, I'm looking for that out of body. So this is the journey I'm on right now, Cody, is I'm looking for that emotional fallout of I'm done, I did this. Can I cry at the end of something, which we don't think it's going to come. I don't know what's going to happen, but you know, I like that you have found a connection to something, and it's kind of the driving force behind this 100-mile race. And I'm hoping that you can kind of elaborate and explain what the foundation is that you're working with to raise money, what the whole event is, and your reasoning, your why behind this 100-mile, yours and Ben's.
Yeah, we considered in the beginning like 100 miles for 50 kids. And I thought, okay, an orphanage costs 72 grand, but 100 miles, 50 kids just kind of sounds weird, and God can do anything. Let's make it 100 miles, 100 kids. Who cares about the money? It'll get taken care of.
And this kids
grand.
foundation, this is what is the foundation you're doing? What do they do?
So there's a group called Angel House, and they basically have orphanages in India and now Nepal and Sri Lanka and all over the place. But each house houses 50 kids, and there's 2 parents that are there. They're kind of like, they are the mom and the dad. They're also kind of like pastors, and they raise the kids, and it's sustainable, and the government will support the home ongoing as long as somebody will build them. And we put in a well. And 50 kids are there from infant to 18-ish. And in that period of time, you know, everybody's helping. So it's not 2 parents taking care of 50 kids, like the whole family. They call each other brothers and sisters. Like it's a dialed in, like well-organized process. They've got school going on. They teach the kids everything. It's fantastic. And a lot of these kids, so my pastor and I went to India in 2007 after deployment, and it was the worst, most impoverished, most disgusting experience of my life. Got parasites, got super sick.
Did you go?
I told everybody
This was him. This is when you were in the Marines, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I said my pastor, but dialing back, when I was in the Marines, we got super sick. It was not a great experience. I was like, I'll never go back. You can't pay me to go back. And then I'm in church, fast forward to a few years ago, and my pastor's talking about angel houses and how the church is supporting this and how they're building them. And it was really an awesome, exciting experience of what he was explaining that they do. And then he stands up, he's like, we're going to take a team and we're going to go to India. And I was like, ugh. I put my head down because I knew I was going to have to go, and I wasn't really going to have a choice. And Yeah, so that was a bummer. So, but then I faced it, and my pastor and my buddy Dan and I, we all go to India, and in a week, we traveled all over the country. Every day we're flying and driving for hours into the middle of the jungle, even to some orphanages, and just all over the place. And it was a wild experience, and I found a love for India that I hadn't known before. But like
Oh, wow.
each orphanage we would go to, they celebrated us. These kids were all super excited about us. Like there's just so many happy kids there. And I've seen what the kids look like on the street, and or the kids that don't have parents, and then now I'm seeing what these kids are experiencing in life, and it just warms your heart like crazy. There's the saddest testimonials that some of these kids give, that like it's so bad in India. There's a brother and sister that were like 4 and 6, and their parents killed themselves because the life just sucks out there.
Jeez.
And police found these 2 kids a few days later and took them to an angel house, which changed their life. And now this girl was, I think, 17 at the time that we were there, and she's already working on her master's degree. And like they just
That's
get these
amazing.
educations, and they have these ambitions, and they're getting after it in life. So it just takes them from pretty much like they're going to commit suicide or die or be dealing with human trafficking, and gives them an opportunity to go become something. And some of them will become their own angel house parents, and it will just continue to grow and be successful.
And this is
So,
the foundation that you two are looking to support with your fundraising on this journey on the Zion 100. So it seems like you're going to have a lot of motivation to complete this challenge,
Yeah,
right? Much like you mentioned before, you're a CEO, a business owner, and you really find a joy in motivating those around you. But I want to ask you the question, being a CEO, I'm sure is taxing. I'm sure it's exhausting. Being a parent to, your kids, a husband to your wife, and, having a lot of these responsibilities on your shoulders. Where do you find the time to train? How do you do this?
just a lot like you kind of inspired me, Nick. I don't want to put a burden on my family. I don't want to, it's going to, but I don't want to be always gone running for 3 hours in the middle of the day. And so I get to bed earlier. I plan my day much more in advance, day before or the week before. And then I just get up early and get my runs nice and early in the day so that, once I'm back from the run, it's pretty much I have a whole day. And then you feel like $1,000,000 and you crush it in life because you just demolish this run in the morning. And, you just feel good, but you try not to be a huge burden on everybody.
Yeah.
How much are you running, like on a daily basis? How many miles?
My Garmin,
per train.
and I keep changing our minds, but it seems like in the beginning was laying like a base, and then I was running quite a bit, 30 to 40 miles a week, and then I peaked at 51 miles in a week. And the following week, I got sick. My immune system went down, so that decreased me quite a bit. And I'm just trying to find that right balance. Mm-hmm. But now I'm this morning I did strength training and instead of just running, and so it's just kind of mixing everything up. Mm-hmm. And then next and I've started a little bit of it, just running super full of food to work on my intake for the run and hydration.
This guy can't eat and run.
No.
Yeah,
I don't eat. I mean, I'm not running 100 miles, but if I was going to run a half marathon, I would not eat.
Well, training isn't just, hey, what are you running? It's studying, figuring this stuff out, learning how this stuff works. And in that, you learn. I learned and talked to enough people. They're like, "Hey, dude, the thing that's going to take you down is dehydration and malnutrition. You're burning too much. Your body just shuts down. So it's okay. I got to just feed myself like crazy, because if my body just stops working, I can't push it. Then I'm done. But if it's working because I fed it enough, I'm just in extreme pain. Then I can push through that. That's a choice.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of going into that a little bit more, what's the changes in your mindset that running has brought you? Have you noticed a rewire in how you approach the day? We talk a lot about a rewire, and the highs and lows of running, how it pretty much equates to life and how you face life's challenges. What have you noticed personally, as far as the rewire that has taken place in your life since you started your endurance journey?
The things that you hate, if you face them, then you accomplish them, and they never have a hold on you anymore. But if you continue to hate them and just stay away from them and stay comfortable in life, then they will always have a hold over you, and you always have that fear of those situations. And so cold water, I hated cold water because I jumped in my pool in the middle of the winter, and it was 10 feet deep, and it was in the 40s at the bottom of the pool to get something. And in that moment, my body took over and was stronger than my mental capacity. And I just got out of the pool and was like, holy cow, I never want to go in cold water again. And I realized I literally would be in my jacuzzi looking at my pool, and it's simple, just jump in the pool, who cares? But like, even if it was a warm summer day and the pool was, let's say, 75, I would look at it like, I don't want to get cold. And it had this weird hold, right? It sounds kind of funky, but it was there. And then so I faced it, and I just started cold plunging, which I hated. It was horrible. I still hate it. But it's like, if you just face the thing that you hate, it's like facing, your fear. And whatever your fear is, fear of heights, just face that. And then you realize that you can mentally take control over it, and it doesn't have a hold on you anymore.
I'm going to go try a cold plunge.
You are?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring a camera because I hate cold water too, and he's invited me to try out his cold plunge, so I will film that for us, because that's gonna be a nightmare for me. But you were gonna mention something.
Yeah. Did the Marines help you develop this mindset? Because my mindset's kind of the opposite, not with facing your challenges or facing your fears, but once I did the half marathon, I didn't want to do it again. Like, I had no desire to do that. So I'm very interested in you and Nick's mindset of pushing yourself through pain and continuing to do things over and over again, even though you hate them.
Yeah, in the Marines you learned a lot. There was a lot of, like, in boot camp, a lot of big common fear situations that they put all the recruits in, so that, because a lot of people fear heights, so they all made everybody go up and rappel down like a 50-foot wall.
Right.
And so that everybody with that fear had to face it and then accomplish it and overcome it. I didn't really have a bunch of those fears, but there was a day that I couldn't make it up the rope climb. Like, they taught us 2 techniques to make it up the rope climb, and I tried the easy one they told us, and it just didn't work for me, and my drill instructor kicked me off. He said, get the heck out of here, whatever.
I'm sure he said it just like that too, right?
Yep. He said, kind young boy, here, go have a cupcake. No, but then, so I went off and I processed the situation, and I didn't even try the more advanced technique. And it's scary to go talk to a drill instructor, but I ran back up to him. I requested permission to talk to him. I requested permission to give it another try. Long story short, he let me give it another try. I did the difficult technique, and I made it to the top, and I come down, and it was a super emotional moment for me. And he said a bunch of big words that I can't remember what they were, but that showed me that I was able to accomplish something where my whole life I was an average kid that fit in, and now I was able to be something that was excelling. And then we all marched off to another set of ropes, and he made everybody who couldn't make it up the rope go and do it. And I got to sit in the group that was like, hey, you already did this, so just stand and don't move. But that's a lot better than going through this again. So there was a mindset shift for me there, that I realized I was able to stand out. I was able to accomplish difficult things. But yeah, and, I mean, in the Marine Corps, you face difficult stuff and uncomfortable things all the time, and it helps you grow as an individual.
But I do like that, I think a lot of us veterans, right, we get out, and because of, what we went through during that time, right, it's easy to go back to easy, if that makes sense, right? And I agree with you. I stopped challenging myself after that. I wasn't pushing anymore. After me getting sober and going through that, it was like I found a drive to push myself again, right? Physically, mentally, what else can I do? And once you kind of unlock it again, I don't know if it's PTSD, I don't know if it's like just whatever mental things that we have after getting out.
Because you talked about that too. It's a sense of control.
Yeah.
Like once you accomplish things or push through that pain.
Yeah. You can control, you feel like you have more control over your life, your body, your mind. And I think leaving a place that, yes, the military's controlled. It's a controlled environment, controlled what you do, what you say, how you go, how you dress, where, whatever, that's all control, but it's out of your control, right? Because you signed up for it. You no longer have control. And I feel like leaving there, I wanted to do everything that I wanted to do within my control, but a lot of it was the wrong way, right? It was still an easy way. So I pretty much agree and empathize and relate with Cody. Being able to find something to push yourself. So Jarrett always mentions that a lot of endurance athletes are CEOs, right?
Yeah. They're either CEOs or...
Yeah, CEOs or recovering addicts or people with trauma, right? We're probably all three of those. And, but I guess like what I want to connect now is the correlation between what you've seen as improvements in your own CEO life that maybe running has brought you. For me specifically, it's I learned a lot of patience because when you start out for a 4-hour run, you kind of want the 4 hours to be done, but you have to be patient and let each one go by, each minute go by, each mile go by. I learned patience and not getting to the end and just enjoying the journey there. What have you noticed as far as endurance running and how that translated to your professional life?
I think that there's a lot of I guess I call people out more for their excuses. So while I am patient, so I'm a lot kinder in my conversations. I'm less short-tempered. I now have the control over my emotions, and I can have a conversation with somebody, even if they just burnt a lot of money or damaged something big or caused a lot of heartache for the business. I now can bring them in and have a conversation with them and be patient and kind and get real. I don't have to yell at them. That's a sign of immaturity as a leader. So I'm just calm and mature in the situation. But as they give me surface level answers, and maybe they're weak or just showing weakness in those situations, then I can just I dig deeper with them. I'm less going to allow them to get away with nonsense BS. I'm going to push them to a level of uncomfortable conversation, and that's okay. I've lived through it. And, once I'm able to show them that they can get very uncomfortable, and then and then accomplish the conversation, and then I'll debrief them afterward about our conversation and see how they're able to grow and be more mature as an employee, and handle their own situation better in the future. Yeah.
So, completely agree. I'm glad that you found that patience, and coming with challenging, right? I think the word fear, is often associated with the challenge, right? There's fear, right?
Are you afraid before you run, Cody? Like, do you feel fear?
This run has been the scariest thing for me in many years, I'll say. And I'm not a person that actually has much fear. I can count on my hand how many times I remember being scared as an adult. But now that I've talked about this run enough, I feel that I am able to talk about it without my eyes filling up with either fear emotion or excitement emotion of what we're going to do for these 100 kids. But definitely it's scary when I really dive in and think about it, which I don't do that very often. It's just, I already set the mission. I'm just going to go accomplish it versus dwelling on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's scary to think that I'm going to go run 100 miles. It's probably going to take me 30 hours. I'm not going to sleep. I'm just going to go straight. I'll stop to change my clothes probably every marathon approximately. Yeah, and go through that whole thing.
So how do you prepare? Is it just within your training and gaining more confidence within yourself to address those fears of the race? Is there something special that you do?
I'm going to go section by section. And
Okay.
I took a few hours, and I have all these screens in my home office, and I had the bird's eye view map, I had the elevation map, I had Google Earth going, and I had another document where I was taking notes. And I broke the race down aid station by aid station. So I know what gear is going to be at each drop, that I can put gear, which ones have crews at them, but between each station, so I have basically have 20 runs to do. Mm-hmm. And the first 17 miles is mostly flat, and I'm gonna Like, I broke the whole thing down to what I'm gonna have to accomplish.
Yeah, you broke it down like a Marine and a CEO.
Sounds like, yeah.
There's a lot of unprepared people in runs that I see, like their testimony on social media, and there's equally that many unprepared people in life that they don't even think about where they're going. Like, if I'm going to lunch, I know where I'm going to lunch today. The parking gets crazy at 12:30, so we set the lunch for 12. Like, I know I plan things ahead, and it's the easiest thing. Okay, what everybody does is they somewhat plan. Everybody somewhat plans for everything. So I either plan 3 minutes before I leave and try to figure it out and go, holy cow, I should have left 10 minutes ago. Or you plan the day before, or you plan when you schedule the event. And that's what I do, is I plan when I schedule something. Yeah. So if I'm meeting somebody somewhere, I literally look at the map. I look at what the traffic's going to be from where I'm coming from. I try to make things efficient. And you might think, oh, this guy's crazy. What a waste. Dude, life is efficient for me, and I make it on time, and I'm early, and things flow well. And like, that's just kind of how I function, and make fun of me. But life is a lot easier when you're planned and efficient versus being lazy and dealing with all the negatives of being lazy, which are ridiculous.
So is that some advice that you would give to, somebody considering to do their first ultra or major race, is be prepared?
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand a run is more than a run. It's not just, I'm going to go do some runs and then I'll be ready. That there's just studying involved. There's your gear that's involved, and your feet alone have multiple levels of gear. It's not just a pair of shoes. It's the soles in the shoes. It's the socks that you wear, the powder or the lubricant that you put on your feet, how often you clip your toenails, how you handle the blisters that you're getting throughout your training. Like, there's so much just in your feet. Yeah. And so if you don't realize, like, this run is more than a sign-up fee and some runs, that it is all-encompassing, all-consuming. And look, I could do a half-assed job preparing, and then show up to race day and go through absolute sufferfest hell. And I know I'll go through a really tough time. I know it's going to be a sufferfest, but it's not going to be as bad as it would be, because I'm going to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
So I always ask Nick this question too. Why do you guys seek out longer and longer distances and harder challenges? Why not just run like a half marathon faster, or, push yourself? Like, is distance a symbol for something?
I like that.
So that's a great question. That's a fantastic question. So for me, I signed up for a half Ironman after my sprint with my buddy Chad and a couple other friends. I signed up for it in front of them. They were like, you won't do it. I signed up for it. And then a big thing was I clicked no insurance, so I can't back out. And I turned around and I faced them. There's like tears filling up in my eyes because I was scared, but like excited and confident. Like, I'm going to handle this, but I'm doing it. And then I was going to get through that before I decided whether I wanted to sign up for a full Ironman. But then I was on this run and I went through this process, and I came back with such a runner's high that a month before the Ironman, I signed up for the full Ironman for Texas. And I don't know, like, so once I did the 70.3, then we did the full. I kind of just hung out and was satisfied in life until Ben was like, hey, let's do something big. And he's like, I just want to go after something. He had already done a 50-miler. He did the Ironmans with me. And he's like, in life, I just want something big that I'm going after. Yeah. And so I think for Ben and I, we're like, let's go do some crazy thing that I know nobody on the planet has ever accomplished. Personally, I know people have done it, but personally, I don't know anybody who's accomplished it. And so I'm like, I'm going to go do that. Let's go do something crazy. And like the other people, I think that they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get better times, and then I'm going to get a better time, and then I'm going to get a better time. And everybody runs their own race.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic as long as you're getting after something. And it might not even be running. I'm going to go hike. I'm going to go mountain climbing. I'm going to go do something different. And like a lot of people ask me, are you going to do a bunch of Ironmans now after I accomplish the one? And I'm like, I don't want to become this Ironman triathlete that it consumes my life.
Yeah.
So no, but I'm going to go do something else crazy. I've jumped out of an airplane before. I've counted cards in blackjack and supported my life and my family for over a year before. I'm going to go do something else crazy.
That's a whole nother story. We got to get,
okay. I have a lot of crazy things that I've accomplished. And like 1%er is this thing that's kind of, that I have that I don't really speak about, but like, I want to do a ton of things that not even 1% of like normal civilization has accomplished. And I don't the whole world because, you know, if you look at the whole world, what you do is 1%, of course, because there's not many people that can do that. But like, I mean, of like normal civilization, less than 1% does these things. I want to do a lot of those things in my life.
So you'll keep doing this your whole life, like seeking out these challenges and overcoming them.
I will keep seeking out challenges and overcoming them. I don't know if it'll be for my whole life. I don't know if I'll be 92 years old and, you know, going and doing the world's longest kayaking event or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep getting after it. A lot of people look up to me, even though I don't have like some big following. There's a lot of people that do look up to me, and I want to keep going and getting after it to show them that they can do something too.
Do you think you would do it if no one looked, like it was just you by yourself and no one looked up to you?
If I was getting nothing accomplished and no one knew that it was going to happen and I wasn't going to inspire anybody,
right,
and Ben wasn't running it with me, then I probably would have no interest.
Oh, wow. Is that the same for you, Nick? Is that if no one ever knew, would you do this?
Sure. If no one ever,
because I'm very interested in the mentality of ultra runners. So
that's a crazy question because I immediately want to say, yeah, of course, but I mean, would I?
Because I think I relate a lot to Cody. Yeah. I would do it for a reason. Like the minute he said I'm doing, because Nick asked me all the time, how can I get you to run 100? How can I get you to run a 50? And for myself, I don't think I would ever do it. But if Cody was like, but if Cody came to me and was like, look, Jared, you run this 100, we're going to save 100 kids' lives. Now you're talking my language. Now it's like, okay, I can find something internally to get me past.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. You know, I never gave that deep a thought to it. Like, you know, because I do hope that out there, there's another person who was struggling with addiction, who's on their, you know, they're at their rock bottom, right? And if they can hear a story, right, that pulls them out and gives them motivation to better themselves, then it's a win, right? Using yourself as an example to uplift humanity as a whole is very, very much something that I seek. So I guess, yours
seems more about your internal.
I feel like I have this internal. Dude, I mean, I've never been asked that question though. Like if nobody else was there, I want to say that I would still do it, but I would have never known about any of this stuff if somebody didn't talk about it.
Right.
I would have never known about marathons or ultra marathons. Like, so if it wasn't for somebody speaking out loud about it and motivating me, then I probably wouldn't have been here. So I feel like I owe it to a community. I owe it to other people out there to take in some sort of motivation, some sort of message to better themselves, because it's kind of paying it forward, right? You know, somebody showed me an outlet and a way to better myself, I feel like everybody should see that way.
So you
too.
do feel like you run it for others?
I guess so. Yeah. As what is the word? As like not selfish, but like
Selfless?
No, like it is selfish in a way. Like I do this for other people, but like it makes me feel better.
Right.
I don't know. But I think there's nothing wrong with that.
That's why I asked Cody, did he do it himself? Like, what made you run that first half marathon? Like, did a buddy challenge you? You just saw there was a challenge and you're like, that sounds hard. Okay, let's go do that. And then
So
you ran
God
the whole
told me-
thing by yourself?
Yeah, so God told me go do that run. And
Okay.
so only a handful of people knew I was doing it. And that run was for me. And I think he told me to do that run so that I could break through what I thought was physically possible. And so I could go find a whole new level of mental strength. And in that process, that run for myself, I'm like, you have no cheerleader. That's one thing is like in life, especially as like an entrepreneur and a business leader, you have no cheerleaders other than your own family. And like
Yeah.
your employees aren't like, yeah, you're the best. It's just like you have to be your own cheerleader. And I like my wife is the absolute best. My kids are fantastic, amazing, and supportive. My wife supported me through tons and tons of stuff. But there was a point on that run, I passed mile like 11 or 10.
Right.
And I text my wife. I'm like, all right, I'm probably, you got probably 20, 30 minutes before I pass the finish line. Come on down. And she's like, she texts me back, I'm not coming. I'm tired. And I'm like, bro, I just ran 10 miles. I'm tired. I got up an hour before you did. And like, so that was like this, it was just a funny situation where it's like, dude, you have to be able to do this stuff without caring about anybody else
Yeah.
being there for you. You
Yeah,
do
yeah.
have to do that. And you say like, hey, would I do Zion if there was nobody? And I already answered that question. But like with this first half marathon, I did that run for myself. And and to be obedient to God as well. But he taught me so much through that run. And at the same time, like I don't cold plunge for anybody else. I usually cold plunge like when it's dark, I'm alone, no one else is awake. I go do a cold plunge, or sometimes depending on what's going on in life, I'm doing them in the afternoons, but nobody else is around. So that is 100% for mental strength and some body and physical stuff too. But like my cold plunging is just for me, not for the world. I am building my mental strength. I've been facing some really tough things in my personal and professional life. And it's like, I can push through anything because of how strong my mental strength has become in this running process, in cold plunging, in not separating myself from what I care about, and just being able to like mentally be more mature and having more control over not having the things that you really want in this world of comfort.
When I cold plunge, it's going to be for my social media only.
That's such
We're
a
gonna
great
set up
lesson. Like
everything. We're gonna have the camera, the lighting.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fantastic.
It's only for content, not to better myself.
But that's awesome because something I'm learning from this interview is pushing myself and challenging myself in something else, how much that will help your day-to-day, like other little things the tiny little things that I might be afraid of throughout the day or I just don't want to do. It's like yesterday I cold plunged and that sucked. I mean, the half marathon has changed my life where it's like, dang, Jared, those last eight miles, I didn't think I would make it at all. And you push through that. It's like, okay, now you can do these other things that
8
are
miles, more than
way more
half the race. You just didn't think you could make it, and you pushed through more than half the race and made it.
Yeah. But it's almost, maybe that's why you guys are pushing yourself longer and longer distances, because it's pushing the threshold of what you guys could do in your day-to-day life. It's like, now I can do even more. It's like I push myself to this 100. Now I can do.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, when you've ran 22 miles before the world is awake, you feel pretty accomplished, and everything that would normally suck in that day doesn't suck as bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
100%.
Yeah, it feels great. We're kind of running towards the end of our. I wish we had more time.
Yeah, we might have to do.
We're gonna have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to have you back on because there's. You're actually answering more of the question of why than I do with Jarrett, because he'll ask me and I don't have any answers.
He relates more to the way my mind works.
Yeah.
I think a little bit.
Yeah.
And his experience is I just woke up and I just did it.
Yeah. But at least I like seeing the different perspectives, right? The different motivating factors. It was so real.
And I need to know, how does he push himself through the pain like that to where it sounds like he's almost passing out on that first marathon in pain. And he knows, like, that's the edge you're looking for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're looking for pushing yourself over whatever Nick's limit is, which is no one's been able to find yet.
Yeah.
But whenever you do find it, it's like right after that is like this holy grail of...
It might be never ending, right? Because obviously once you find the threshold and you surpass it, obviously you've set a new threshold, right? So you want to just keep pushing through.
I mean, in your 100, like, you pushed yourself when you were trying to
get there, and I pushed past the furthest I'd ever gone, right?
Yeah.
So
many questions.
I do have one final question, and then when we wrap up, I want you to, mention where people can donate for yours and Ben's cause, where they can find you guys. But I had one question that I really wanted to ask you, and it's, if Cody could go back to Memorial Day 2023 and give yourself some advice before that, what would it be?
Don't wear 2 pairs of socks.
That's it. Okay.
So literally, Jarrett, that's first thing popped through my head. Don't wear 2 pairs of socks. So here's the reality, okay? I would tell him nothing, because I want him to learn those lessons. I want him to go through that pain. I want him to experience everything he experienced. There's situations in life that suck. And if you go back like you're the dad and you're going to just coddle your kid, hey, I'm going to make sure my kid never goes through this pain, and you carry him through it. Mm-hmm. Now that kid is weaker on the other side than they would have been had they not gone, or if they would have gone through the pain. Yeah. So I would have told him nothing. Beautiful. Good luck.
Yeah. I learned a lot in this podcast. This is
good luck, slap on the butt. It's at the one piece.
Wear 3 pairs of socks.
Just to give him a little bit more. Don't wear shoes. Let's just see how that goes.
Right.
But Cody, I appreciate you spending your time of your busy day. I know you have a lot going on, being a dad, a CEO, training for this 100-miler. But can you please let us know the foundation, maybe the website, and I will also add it in the podcast description, where they can find you when the race starts, and social media.
Ben's foundation is called Echo Foundation, which is EKKO Foundation.com. It might be .org. One of those
two,
you'll find it.
But we will update it, and it'll be in the show description.
Yeah, echofoundation.org. And you'll scroll down a little bit. You'll be able to see all this awesome stuff Ben's doing and has done. And then you'll see the Zion 100, and there's a link right there to be able to donate for it. We're raising $144,000. That's $1,440 for one kid. And that'd be fantastic if anybody could do it. He'll raise up the funds, and then we'll take those funds and apply them to Angel House so they can actually get the homes built. So it's going to be
amazing.
Nice and fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Cody, again, thank you. I love you, bud. You keep crushing it. I wish you guys the best of luck. I know you have a lot.
Maybe we'll throw Nick in there and then save some more kids.
I was going to try to run this race with them. It's my daughter's birthday coming up that time. So, to keep the other half happy, I have to not go on that race. I would have loved more than anything to run this 100 miles with Cody. But maybe we can get another one in the future. And you know what? When you complete this one, because he's just going to keep pushing the limits, we'll just go in and do a 250 mile. You heard it here first. We're going to go do a 250 mile race.
Eventually run across all of the
we're going to go from the Pan Am Trail. Let's do it for 4 months.
Don't mention it to Cody, because he might just do it right now.
Yeah, with 2 socks.
Might push himself through it.
Yeah, but I love you, man. I appreciate you spending some time with us today, and thanks you again.
Guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. You take care.
Awesome, dude.
Yep. All right. And that's another episode of the Ostrich Running Podcast with our guest Cody Novini, and that was amazing.
Enlightening for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. It's crazy to see what drives people, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
you still see a correlation between you and him.
yeah,
but
for sure.
Yeah, it was.
There's
nice
similarities.
To see.
I can't wait to have him back on because I need to talk to him post race after that. So I think it's gonna be
Maybe
great.
we'll get Ben on there too.
Yeah, that would be great too.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him. But yeah, that's it. That's episode 4 of the Ostrich Running Podcast. We thank you guys for listening, joining us on this journey. You can follow us at ostrich.running. We are also on YouTube, wherever streaming's available, and you can find us at ostrichrunning.com. Thank you very much for joining us on this journey, and we will see you next week. All right, cue that outro music. I knew you were going to do that.